Hello, and welcome to my submission for Coolest Projects 2026 Subracers. Subracers is a 3D racing game that I made in Godot, but with a twist. Before each race, players are shown one real fact about the ocean. Some are surprising, some are worrying, but all of them highlight the challenges that our oceans are facing due to pollution, climate change, and the loss of marine life. My name is Hasib Zishan, and this is the story of making my tribute to our oceans and their biggest voice, David Attenborough, for his 100th birthday. Deciding to make Subracers a 3D game had its upsides and its downsides. One of the upsides was that since it's a 3D game, it has more depth. Players can feel more immersed in the game, and after all, facts feel a lot more personal if you're racing through the world that they're describing. But it also had its downsides. One of the main downsides was the third axis. Now I'd have to worry about the y-axis, and that meant that maybe I'd need to make controls for it as well and design the whole environment around it as well. I'd need to make some way to stop submarines from going to the surface or plunging to the bottom of the ocean. The main way I got around this was by limiting the submarine's movement to the Z and the X axes. As you can see here, I have limited the submarine's movement to the X and the Z axes. So even if they bump into each other, they don't move up and down. I don't need to worry about what happens if they collide with the rocks underneath, and it overall makes the whole game loop a lot simpler. One of the other benefits of limiting the submarines to the Z and X axes was level design. It meant that I only need to focus on the cliffs and just adding a sea basin, this white plain underneath. I don't need to worry about a roof and I don't need to worry about collisions for that. The next big part of the project was the racing AI. Making a bot that would be difficult and competitive while also being fun would prove to be one of the most difficult parts of this project. And there was a number of ways I could have gone about this. One way is I just simply draw a path and I just make our bot follow that path. It's nice, simple, easy, but it has a problem. The main problem is that since it's just following a path, it's not physics based. It means that if anything collides with our bot, then it won't move off course. It won't get bumped around. And that already reduces the immersiveness because it means players can go through our bot. But it also has a second problem, which is that it's not affected by tight turns, and that means the bot gains a huge advantage on any tight corners. As we can see here, it just turns instantly. Now, this already makes it quite unviable for our project. So what are the other options? One other option is that you train an AI by making it race a number of times around a circuit, and it will eventually learn how to race against players. This is a much more complex task and definitely wouldn't have been achievable within the time span that I was making this game. It also meant that I would have to deal with stuff like raycasts, which are basically like lasers, checking the distance between its source and wherever it's pointing. So I decided to opt with the third option, which is a variant of our first path idea. The way I would go about it is that we make a path and we make a box or a point follow this path. Now, this is good, but as we recall from before, it had those problems like not being physics based. So, what do? We make our enemy follow it. This following is completely physics-based because it uses torque to turn to the point and a constant force to move towards it. So, for example, on sharp turns like you just saw there, it can overturn and it can also recorrect itself if it goes off course. Now, at long last, let's finally get into the game. For controls, we use the up arrow key to move forward, the left arrow key to move left, and the right arrow key to move right. The main track for Sub Racers was made in Reaper, where I used a number of instruments ranging from synths to drums to basses to eventually create this. I decided to make the racing theme for Sub Racers a bit different to make it more high energy. For this, I used a different drum and a few different instruments. You can listen to my track for Sub Racers on SoundCloud. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching my journey in making Sub Racers. I really appreciate it. And I hope that Sub Racers can help spread awareness among young people about the dangers to our oceans, and maybe even motivate someone out there to do something about it. Because, after all, if we save our sea, we save the world.